Army of the Dead is Zack Snyder's newest film. It came out on Netflix yesterday and in theaters a few days before, and it took me a little bit to do this review. One, because my eye, this one is a little bit messed up right now because of contacts and stuff, so if I look high or out of it in this video, I'm not, I swear. It just is more red and kind of closes more because I couldn't open it for like half an hour today. But also there was a lot for me to process with this movie. It is 2.5 hours, but without further ado, let's just get into it. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this movie. I went into this movie almost completely blind. Now I watched the trailer and I reacted to it, and I had no idea what this movie was going to be. Then while watching the trailer, I noticed that, hey, this looks pretty cool. So I checked it out yesterday, and before I started, I was like, damn, this is like 2.5 hours, but Snyder makes a lot of long movies. And I ended up really enjoying the movie. Is it the greatest thing ever? No. Is it my favorite movie of this year? No. Is it really good though? Yeah, it's so entertaining, so badass, and so awesome. I really hope you guys enjoyed it because I know there's a ton of mixed reviews here. People either absolutely love it or they really dislike it, and I thought it was really good. I'll get the negatives out of the way first, and one of them is that it is 2.5 hours and it does not need to be that long. It could be about 2 hours and 10 minutes. I think that would be perfect because there are definitely scenes that go on for too long, and I'm just like, okay, let's kind of move along here, but it doesn't feel exactly like a super long epic movie, kind of like he has made in the past. And the Snyder Cut was awesome, by the way. And the characters were really enjoyable, but there were some of them that were really not fleshed out. They were kind of just there, and you're like, okay, some of them are cool, and I like how shit. I like Baby Yoda just fell. I like how they dealt with a lot of them, especially one kind of asshole character. What they do to him is just really awesome. But sometimes when they're going for a more emotional scene, it doesn't always hit with some of the side characters. The main ones, though, were really well done. Dave Bautista stars in this movie, and it's about him leading a group of, I think, mercenaries into Las Vegas because there was a big zombie outbreak. And for me, the zombie genre is interesting. I haven't really seen that much from it, though. I've seen Zombieland, and I adore Zombieland. It's still my favorite zombie movie, and Zombieland 2 Double Tap, which is just the greatest title of all time. So smart. I really like that movie. It's not as good as the first one, but I really like it. And then The Last of Us is probably my favorite game of all time. I'm not really a gamer, but this game is incredible, and there were definitely scenes here that remind me of The Last of Us. The stuff they do with the zombies, how some of them are just, they're like the runners, and then there's also like the alphas, and the alphas in this movie looked awesome. I'll talk about the makeup in a little bit. My final complaint, though, with the movie is that there's a little bit, some of the visual effects, not like to do with the zombies, but sometimes like one shot that really stood out to me where like a plane or two flew through, and I was like, oh my god, that looks so much like CGI, and it's a Netflix movie. It's obviously high budget in 2021. I was like, why did it stand out that much? And also, Zack Snyder wrote, directed, produced, and was the director of photography for this movie. And this isn't really a complaint. This is like kind of a mixed aspect thing, like a Sean Chandler video, and the mixed thing. It's not really good or bad. What he likes to do is put characters either really close or really far away from the camera. I'll say like really close, and then he has the focus straight on them to the point where everything else is blurred behind them, and then they'll walk away, they'll walk back or walk out of the frame, and it'll just hold on just like a blurry image, because none of it's in focus, instead of pulling the focus and following them. And it did get in the way sometimes, not too much, and at first I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. Oh, they keep doing it with all these people, but it's just kind of, you can push it to the side, I think. At least I could. But talking more positively, though, this movie was just so badass. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's very badass. The way the zombies are killed, like a lot of them, are really cool. Like, it is an insanely gory movie, and it is so awesome in the way. I just finished watching Invincible, which I highly recommend. 5 out of 5 show. I didn't end up reviewing it because I watched it a little bit later, but it's an incredible show. That's a side note. But this movie was really cool, and I really loved a lot of the action here, because zombie action is normally pretty badass, and here they really took advantage of that R rating. One of my favorite shots in the movie is Dave Bautista running across the tables, because they're in Las Vegas, so running across like cards tables, and he's just having gun, and he's stepping and jumping between them, and he's shooting all these zombies. It's so cool, and there is some emotion in the movie. Not all of it lands, but what they do with the main characters is really smart, like Dave Bautista, Ella Purnell, who's also really great. I can't really pronounce the names of like half the actors in this movie, but some of my other favorites were Omari Hardwick, and I think my favorite overall was Nora Nora, Arnezeder, something like that. And then there's a bunch more, like the hacker character. He has a German name, I think, so I'm not even going to attempt to say it because I won't get it right. But Lily, or like the coyote, I think they call her, the one with like the blonde slick back hair, was probably my favorite character here. But Dave Bautista gets to show his acting chops here, and I want to see him in more serious roles. Obviously, we saw him a little bit in Blade Runner 2049, like barely, but here he really has some hard-hitting moments, and I think that the moments with him worked, although the movie is very long, and there's like 3 endings. You know, a lot of people complain that Snyder does it a lot. I don't really see it, but this one, I will admit, it ended, and I was like, okay, here come the credits. Nope, here's 10 more minutes. Oh no, here's 5 more minutes. And I was like, okay, it's finally over, but I did really enjoy this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun, and if you're a fan of the zombie genre, I highly recommend checking this one out. Overall, Army of the Dead was an absolute blast. Sure, not all the characters are fleshed out all that well, but the action is the big standout here. I thought that the makeup with the zombies was incredible. It was creepy, and when the zombies were really close to the camera, I thought it just worked so well. The makeup team, like, I could honestly see it's getting an Oscar nomination for the makeup. That's how good it was. It was just a lot of fun to see this group of characters fight off all these zombies. I highly recommend it. Again, if you are a fan of zombie movies or heist movies or kind of action, thriller, horror-ish things, like, it's not scary. I wouldn't call this a scary movie, but kind of a mixture of all of that. And I'm going to give Army of the Dead a 4 out of 5. I hope this review turns out better than I expect, because honestly, I can't read the time right now unless I get really close to the screen there. I can't read the time of the video or even barely see myself here. It's pretty blurry. But I want to know what you thought of this movie, because the reviews were very, very mixed. Some people really loved it. Some people really didn't like it. I didn't get that. I thought it was a lot of fun. And again, I recommend checking it out. It's on Netflix now for free, or if you have Netflix, then it is free. Not free, you know what I mean? But anyway, tell me what you thought of the film down below, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.